Okay, kindergarten readiness. How do I know if my child is ready for kindergarten? Is a big question that many of you may have. And what is required for entering kindergarten? Basically, age is the only thing that's required for entering kindergarten. If they turn, 5 by December 1st, they are age eligible to enter kindergarten. What is happening currently is that different laws have come into place with No Child Left Behind and that kind of thing that have left parents a little bit more confused about, should their child be more like 6 when they're going to school. Basically, the law says that the children should just be age eligible, and it's the school's job to meet all of those children, whether they're coming in knowing their letters, knowing how to read, knowing their sound, symbol, correspondence, all of those kinds of things. It's really the school's job to meet those needs. However, in reality, that's not what's happening when you're looking at classrooms of 25, 30 children, one teacher, children coming in not knowing how to write their names, not knowing how to sit still, not being able to control impulses, along with children that are able to start reading and that kind of thing. It gets very complex. And now they've entered the standards of the No Child Left Behind. They're supposed to be at a certain reading level by the time they end kindergarten. They're supposed to know all of their sounds. They're supposed to recognize like 50-some letters, which is uppercase, lowercase, funny G, funny A, all of those kinds of things. So that's where parents are getting a little more confused. Teachers are getting a little bit more stressed, and you're finding that what is best for children developmentally is not necessarily what's being practiced, especially in kindergartens, in schools. So that's kind of where the dichotomy of, I used to just think when my kid was 5, I'd send them off to kindergarten and there wouldn't be any question, to now you're finding 6-year-olds in kindergarten along with 4-year-olds and that kind of thing. So that's a little bit about why they're stressed, why we're even having this meeting when 20 years ago you just sent your kids to kindergarten and didn't even worry about it. Kindergarten readiness. Experts disagree on what kindergarten readiness is. Does it mean that they can tie their shoes and sit for 15 minutes? Does it mean they know all of their letters? It's not something that even the experts in education agree on. And should children be ready for schools, or should schools be ready for children? Again, that I kind of explained a little bit about. Really, legally, schools should be ready for children, but the reality of the situation is that's not what's happening. Kindergarten has obviously changed from, I taught kindergarten about, this is embarrassing. It's getting longer than it used to be. I used to say 10 years, but I'm thinking it's more like 15 now. Schools are more accountable with the GLICkies, which are the grade level expectations. And so they're being held accountable by the state with these performances and standardized testing, which has its own complications and issues relating to that. And so many kindergarten classrooms are no longer play-based, which, as I had mentioned, is not necessarily what we're finding in the brain research as far as what's best for kids. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I think I missed. What's GLICkies?
GLICkies are grade level expectations, so they're basically standards. So like a reading level of 4, which a reading level of 4, a grade level 4 book is looks like a pattern. It's a very patterned text, but there's usually like a little trick in there as far as the sky is blue, the sun is yellow, the grass is green, and then it might say something like, it might have a lizard where you don't know if it's a lizard or whatever, and so you kind of have to look at that first letter kind of thing. So that's about a level 4 as far as what they want children reading at.
How do they use those? Are those just used for like placement, like in working with the kids, or are those used for other purposes?
They're used to determine what is taught in the classroom.
To make sure they're teaching the right level to the kids.
To make sure they're teaching the right subject, like the reading level. What what we did when I was teaching, and it may be different, but I think it's really similar because we were just piloting it, and we did the MLPP, which is the whole profile, at the beginning of the year. Then we did it again in January to show progress, and you're supposed to show progress for each child, and there's supposed to be like, you kind of want everyone at a certain standard, like a 1 by January, or 1 or 2. Whoever you don't have at a 1 or 2 by January, you kind of want to work on those A's and B's, you know. And then at the end of the year, you want everyone at a 4. So it's a measure. It's a measure, and it guides what you're teaching, which also limits what you're teaching as well. And so it's also maybe no longer play-based. Now, when I first started teaching kindergarten, there were very little guidelines. There was very little kindergarten curriculum, very little standards. So actually, when we first started with the MLPP and that training, I actually, as a teacher, really enjoyed it because we kind of had that focus, and it helped me to see what it was I was supposed to be teaching these kids instead of just not knowing. So it can be done well. The standards can be used to help direct and focus instruction. So to think that it just can't be done well is a misconception, because it can guide and it can focus instruction and it can help educate teachers about, you know, what can be learned at these levels. So it's not all terrible. It just can be misused.